GWO training standards are created by the industry for the industry. Our members are globally leading turbine manufacturers and owners representing a majority of installed wind energy capacity around the world. Together, they share risk information and expertise to create training standards that improve safety and build a competent workforce. GWO defines all learning objectives in our training standards according to the GWO Taxonomy framework. Welcome to this video on the core content of the GWO Taxonomy framework. We will present the structure of the framework and we will show you how to use it when you are auditing, planning and conducting GWO safety trainings. The aim of the video is to encourage and inspire GWO safety instructors and auditors in applying the GWO Taxonomy framework to training and audit situations. In particular, the framework explains how to achieve coherence amongst learning objectives, learning domains, taxonomic levels, learning activities and learning processes. It also gives advice on how to evaluate learning outcomes. You will find the framework in Requirements for Training Providers on the GWO website. GWO's taxonomy framework and its constituent parts can be used by instructors and auditors when planning both theoretical and practical learning activities using traditional as well as digital training solutions, auditing courses and trainings, evaluating or assessing participants' understanding and performance, comparing similar courses and trainings internationally, and when developing and reviewing GWO training standards. In this video, GWO safety instructors will find answers to questions and challenges such as an instructor, how can I ensure my learning activities align with the learning objectives in the GWO training standard? How do I involve and motivate participants? And what is the difference between knowledge at basic level and advanced levels, and what impact does this have on my plan? For GWO auditors, the video offers guidance on assessing if the observed training and learning activities meet the relevant learning objectives as they are stated in the training standard. The video includes short, self-test quizzes to support reflection along the way. Let's jump right into it. The aim of the GWO taxonomy framework is to ensure coherence and conformity between learning objectives and their related learning activities delivered in a formal training setting. After a short introduction, the framework contains a series of key definitions and how learning objectives in GWO standards can be better understood. Then follows the three subsections that form the core of the taxonomy framework, one for each of the three learning domains: knowledge, skills, and ability. Before we take a look at a subsection, we need to discuss two important concepts: action verbs and taxonomic levels. Action verbs are key elements in the learning objectives in GWO training standard. Each of the action verbs is precisely described and its usage explained in relation to one of the knowledge, skills, and ability domains. In other words, these action verbs indicate what the participants must be able to do after the training, and by that, also what the participant must practice during the learning activities to build competency. The GWO action verbs are presented in a three-level progression of increasing taxonomic complexity: the basic level, the intermediate level, and the advanced level. At the basic level, there are 7 action verbs. These include to describe and to copy. A typical learning objective at the basic level is the participant can describe a hazard or copy a procedure. Similarly, there are 8 intermediate-level action verbs, including to apply and to take responsibility. At the most complex, advanced level, there are 9 action verbs, including to choose and to supervise. An example of learning objectives at this level are: the participant can choose the correct and most safe action, or supervise fellow workers on safety issues in a work situation. As we saw earlier, the taxonomy describes learning outcomes in the three domains: knowledge, skills, and ability. Knowledge and skills are everyday concepts. We understand or we know something that we can apply in conversations, discussions, or in work situations, and we master certain skills in relation to our profession. But what we mean by the domain of ability may need a little more explanation. Ability can be thought of as everything we carry in the rucksack: our knowledge and skills, our accountability, and our ability to take responsibility, our caring for others, and our social resources, as well as our attitudes. In this definition, ability is what we apply in the reality of our workplace and in life in general. When we do our job, we apply our abilities. In the field of ability, the human factor plays a key role in the personal decision on responsibility and initiative and in the execution of good habits. So what does the GWO Taxonomy framework actually look like? After an introduction, we move to the main section, where the actual taxonomy is unfolded into 9 subsections matching the 3 domains with the 3 taxonomic levels. Each of these 9 subsections is introduced by a definition. First, by domain, for example, the ability domain, as seen here. Let's take a closer look at this domain and, for an example, enter on the intermediate level. This level of ability is characterized by the participant's ability to commit to the task and act independently in both familiar and unfamiliar situations. This is the kind of behavior businesses are normally looking for in employees on site. This is followed by the action verbs defining the taxonomic domain and level, along with the examples of how to apply and understand them. In the intermediate level of ability, the action verbs are act independently, take initiative, and take responsibility. After this comes information aimed at both instructors and auditors. In the first place, in terms of activities that support the participants' learning processes. In this case, the taxonomy points to the importance of the participants being involved and being challenged to use their abilities. This way, they will engage and take the necessary responsibility during the training. Challenging and constructive feedback further inspires to reflection and thus deeper understanding. Following this, the taxonomy moves on to the characteristics of appropriate learning activities that will support the learning processes in this domain and taxonomic level. This is where safety instructors can find inspiration to help design involving learning activities that meet the objectives. For example, scenario-based assignments and training tasks that are as close as possible to work reality, where the participants act on their own in testing their individual abilities. By the way, this subsection can also be handy for auditors to benchmark the observed performed learning activities in relation to the taxonomic domain and complexity levels prescribed by the learning objectives in the training standard. For example, were the assignments scenario-based and did the participants actually act on their own? Let's turn our attention to how the taxonomy framework can help instructors assess or evaluate a participant's performance. With a common set of principles underlying the learning objectives, domains, and taxonomic levels, it is not surprising that the taxonomy also offers pointers to assess and evaluate participants' learning outcomes. These can be found in the final element of each of the 9 subsections. In this example of ability on the intermediate level, the taxonomy suggests that the participants are evaluated when they practice on their own and take the necessary initiative and responsibility. Let's recap on the structure of the GWO Taxonomy framework. After the brief introduction to the framework and definitions of core concepts, the taxonomy offers guidance to the auditor when observing GWO safety training, as well as to the instructor when planning trainings, leading learning activities, and evaluating the participants' learning outcomes. In this video, we have presented the relationship between learning domains, taxonomic levels, learning activities, learning processes, and suggestions for evaluating the learning outcomes. During the video, you have also tested your understanding and insight in the taxonomy framework by reflecting on and answering quiz challenges and questions. Visit the GWO Taxonomy framework and find inspiration on how to design and conduct learning activities that will engage, challenge, and motivate the participants, and at the same time aim at the lesson's learning objectives. You will find the framework in the GWO training provider's requirements on the GWO website, www.globalwindsafety.org. Thank you for watching this video.